So I've decided to do a series that will go through different principles. I'm a big believer in principle-based martial arts instruction. So the principles for me became a thing probably about, I want to say 30 years ago. So I was probably training about 16, 17 years when I started thinking there's something missing in my karate, in my jujutsu. And I started changing things. And then I met certain teachers, Bob Taiji, who recently passed away. He began to open my eyes to more principle-based training, basing his knowledge on the Bubishi. And then, of course, when I met Chen Zhanghua, everything changed, okay? And the reason everything changed is Master Chen Zhanghua can do all the principles physically. So it's not that he can just talk about them and tell you what they are. He demonstrates them physically. And again, when you can see it done physically, it gives you an opportunity to possibly catch that ability, right? Maybe I can get that, and when you feel it. And he also knows how to teach it, which is phenomenal, okay? So I was asked to do a video on splitting. So this first one we'll do on splitting, all right? And you need to understand, these videos, I'm gonna try to show where these principles are in several different arts that I do. So they're universal principles. This idea that they're unique to only Taiji or they're unique only to this, I think is a big mistake. I think martial arts like karate have lost a lot of this because of the overemphasis on sport, okay? When you're practicing karate to look good for a judge so you can win a trophy or a medal, okay, you're not concerned with principles. You're concerned with looking a certain way so you get that high score, okay? In ancient times when this was all about life and death and saving your life, they were concerned with how to use the body at an extremely high level, okay? So that's what I'm hopefully going to be able to show and explain today so people understand it and begin to look at some of the things they're doing in their own martial arts, all right? So splitting, all right? So the concept of splitting, all right, is I'm here and I'm in, like, let's say, for lack of a better term, I'm gonna go straight on here so you can see, like Seiyuchin, Shikodachi. In judo or jujutsu, it's called jigahante, all right? So one of the rules is our knees don't move side to side. Now, we see this type of side-to-side movement in Taiji now all the time, but it's a violation of the principle. So the knees do not move side to side, all right? If your knees move side to side, down the road, you are going to have knee problems. That's just the way it is, okay? So the rule is our knees are only going to move up and down, okay? So that means if this knee goes down, this knee comes up. Now, if this knee goes down, my right knee, the left knee comes up, okay? So this is the action. Now, again, the rod's very important, okay? So the rod is through my body. It's attached to the floor. It's attached to the ceiling. So I can't do things like this. I can't do things like this. I'm here. Everything rotates around that rod. So everything rotates around the rod. Okay, so why is this important? Well, when you're splitting, you're really not double heavy. You're able to still move, all right? So in Taiji, the idea of splitting is extremely important, okay? And we do it where it creates more power, all right? So I'll demonstrate what I mean by that, all right? So before I do that, though, later on in your practice, you don't want your knees to move at all. So now I'll fix my knees and I'll still split. So I'm splitting, but the split takes place here in what the Chinese call the kwa. So you'll see there's an action, and I'm creating this action here, which is a stretch, which has the same effect as me pivoting like this. But that's a higher level way of movement and it's more difficult. So in the beginning, keep it simple. Knees can only move up and down. There can be no side-to-side movement, okay? So if I go this way, it would be the same thing where I'm splitting here, okay? I'm splitting here, and you see the knees aren't moving. But when I do this, I can tell you I feel a big stretch here in the quad, all right? So I actually feel it. It's actually being pulled apart, which is what we want to do in training, okay? So splitting, and how does it relate to the generation of power? So, for instance, I'm in my Taiji position, right? And I'm doing my Taiji punch, okay? So the idea is I don't want to punch like this. So we'll just do from here just for an example's sake, okay? I don't want to do this, which you see a lot of people do. Why do they do that? They feel like they're getting more power. Or the other thing is they load a little bit. They go like this and then go forward. No, this is low-level martial art. So if you're loading before you're striking, low-level martial art, okay? If you're leaning forward to get more, what you think is more oomph in the punch, this is not high-level martial art, okay? So same rules apply. So I'm going to change it, though, a little bit now. So this is an exercise I teach to my beginning students. So I'm going to raise my heel on my rear foot. As I punch, right, I'm going to pivot on the ball of the foot and place the heel down. But now look at my center. My center doesn't move. And as I do it, I bounce the heel. I bounce the heel. This creates a split in the body here, right? So the center's fixed. Power goes down to the foot. Power comes out to the hand. This creates that splitting action where the power is tremendous, right? So again, if I do the typical Taiji action here, now I raise that heel just for the sake of practicing this drill, and then we're here. So we're here, right? And the power again is tremendous. So you bounce the heel down and punch, okay? When this was explained to me by Chen Zhonghua, one of the first things I did is I went over to the Makiwara. And I started hitting the Makiwara the way I always hit it. And I immediately realized that when I was hitting the Makiwara, I was pressing down on my rear foot. So again, sometimes you stumble upon things because you train hard, all right? I often tell the story of being out in Wisconsin with my Kobudo master, Gakiya Yoshiaki sensei. And I could never understand how he generated the power in the weapons, especially weapons like the Tuifa, right? And the Sai, right? I just couldn't understand. And then I was a far distance from him across a field. And I was watching him, and I looked at his legs, and I realized, oh my God, he splits. He's splitting when he does the movements. When I see Matayoshi sensei do things on video, Matayoshi sensei is splitting. Now, whether or not they were taught the concept, right? Gakiya being taught by Matayoshi sensei, possibly Matayoshi sensei being taught by either his father or any of the masters he may be trained with in China, okay? So we don't know. We won't know, okay? Gakiya may have just discovered this through serious hard training and realized this is how you want the body to move. So that's an example of it in Taiji. And the splitting is everywhere. So when I come here, it's here, right? So you see this action here, right? Where I split, right? Split, right? Split, okay? So it's always there. And you press on the rear foot, and this goes out, and there's a rotation in the body, but the center line doesn't move. Okay. So now for my karate friends. So Seisan. Basic stance in Isshin-ryu Karate, right? Right? We can also call it San-Shin because it's the same exact stance, really, right? I mean, later on when you practice San-Shin, you don't have to turn the foot in like this. It can be straight. Okay. So when I do Seisan and I generate power, okay, if you watch, you'll see this knee goes down. This knee comes up. But what you won't see me do is you won't see me do this. And you definitely won't see me load up and punch, okay? So again, if you look from the side, if I'm here, right? So now, when I punch, see that there's a split that happens right here. So if I keep my hands here, you'll see it. See how my one hand is going down because my right knee goes down as the left knee comes up, okay? So this is constantly going on in my Isshin-ryu Karate, all right? And I even discussed this concept with Sensei Harold. Sherman Harrell, okay? And he talked about it in Seiyuchin Kata, how the importance of splitting. Now, he split a little different. Nothing wrong with that, okay? Again, I'd never heard any other Isshinryu sensei talk about it, all right? So it's an important concept within the framework of martial arts, all right? So same thing. So now if I'm punching in Isshinryu and I'm going to punch, you see this action here, right? So when I punch, you see from here, right? I punch, nothing moves here. This is a solid. There's just a rotation around the rod and the knees move like this. So you don't want to be doing this in Isshinryu. Stepping, doing this in Isshinryu, okay? Again, you're going to have knee problems and your power is going to be false power. What do I mean by false power? Well, again, if I do this big load and I move all my mass into a punch, okay, it's going to feel very powerful. The problem is it's not a high level ability. It's a low level ability. And in combat, if you do this big wind up and your attacker is smart, you're going to be in trouble. You're never going to land the punch. Okay? So wind ups are out. All right? So to continue with splitting. So Nahanshi, right, is another form, right, that we have in Okinawan karate. And I see a lot of people in Nahanshi do this kind of stuff, right? Do this kind of stuff where they do this, all right? So when you're doing Nahanshi, right, it's the same idea. So I'll keep my hands here again, and you can see my right knee goes down, right? Left knee down, right leg up, right knee down, left leg up. And this is how I move in Nahanshi. And if I go from the side, you'll see my back is straight, right? And this is the action, okay? And I'm able to, because of this, generate tremendous power when I do Nahanshi, okay? Nahanshi kata. So when I do a move like this, where I come here, so you see how this action, right? Here, right? Now, this is here, right? Okay? Okay? So you get the idea of how the split affects that. Okay? So, Kusanku. So Kusanku kata in Isshinryu and Yara Kusanku that we do, we have a technique where we come from here, we come up, and then we punch, and it's a lunge punch. So same foot forward, same hand forward. Now we pivot, we do the same thing, we step and do the same thing. So one of the things I decided to do when I learned how to split was, in that particular sequence in Kusanku kata, I always work on splitting. So if I go from the side and I'm here and I come up, right? And now I go in and now I bounce the heel, right? So I punch, right? Now I step, punch, right? Right? Well, really, let's do it the correct way in the kata. Here, pivot, punch, right? So see that split, step, punch. Now, in the beginning, it's not going to feel as powerful. It's just not, all right? But you have to develop it. And when you develop it, real power comes out, okay? You know, one of the principles in Taiji is we actually will put our fist on the opponent. So it'll be touching his body when we decide to punch him or strike him. So we're not counting on any type of load or wind up to do the damage. We're counting on our body mechanics. It should be the same thing in karate. But sadly, karate has lost this. Why? Because they want to popularize karate and make it about sport. There's a place for that, no problem. But in only making it about sport, like they've done on Okinawa now they've lost all these abilities. My feeding crane master, right, Lu Changyi, when I first met him, said to me, "We know karate had this power. What happened?" And I told him two things. I said, World War II lost a lot of people, lost a lot of stuff. And I said, the direction of sport, right? Sport karate, you're not interested in generating power because you're playing a game of tag when you spar. You just got to tag the guy. You don't got to hurt him, right? And then you know, when you're doing your kata performance, who cares about power? It's what you look like, right? I mean, I got to be honest. I watched some of the Olympic competition, and they're hitting themselves as they're doing techniques, and this is not karate to me. All right. Okinawan Kobudo is the same thing. The principle of splitting is in there. So where is it? Okay. So I'll turn this way so you can see, right? So when I come here, do you see this, right? So this knee goes here, straight to my toes. This knee comes up and opens, right? This is what I noticed Gakia Sensei did. He did this kind of stuff, all right? So you punch, right? Okay. 1, 2, 3, right? And you see this action, right? So of course, there's a waist action too. But today we're talking about the split. In Jiu-Jitsu, you also have it. So where would I see it in Jiu-Jitsu? Well, it's quite simple, right? If I do a technique like a Rimanage, which you also have in Aikido, where it's to enter, your leg goes behind the opponent's leg, now you're in front of him, and now you do this, right? So if you watch, when I split, right, it's here. So the split takes place here. When I do this split, right, the opponent is just gone. He just goes flying. I just had a student here, and I was demonstrating this particular technique, but as an application for this move in Seiyuchin, and I put my arm on him, and I split and did that, and it was like he just went flying. He said he barely felt me move, and he went flying, okay? So the splitting power is real. It's something you've got to play with and work on, okay? See how you can apply it in any of the martial arts you do. You know, again, if your martial art is geared towards sport, this stuff I'm explaining, useless to you, totally useless. If you want to reach a high level of physical ability, okay, a high level of physical ability, well, then you want to work on stuff like this, okay? So try splitting. I can tell you now, I just posted a video of the founder of Ishinru doing Seiyuchin Kata, all right? And in that video, it's a black and white video. You can find it on the channel, and he splits. So Master Shimabuku, when he does this move in Seiyuchin, he splits. So this knee goes down, this knee comes up, okay? So the founder of Ishinru, on certain of his movements, he's splitting, all right? So this idea that I've heard from some of the first generation students when you're in stances like Nahanchi and Seiyuchin, that the bottom is locked, nothing moves, and you only move the upper body, not correct. Sorry, not correct. In a future video, when I go over the gearbox effect, which is another principle found in martial arts, you'll be able to understand what I'm talking about that, okay? So hope you enjoyed this one on splitting. Again, I'm not going to make these too long. You can work on it yourself. Feel free to contact me. If there's something you want me to touch on a little bit more, I'll be happy to make a follow-up video, all right? And like I said, this is a first in a series which will be of several videos talking about principle-based training and how you implement these principles into your martial arts training, all right? Hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.